Okay, now the fun part. We're going to look at the practical steps. And I think based on the questions that you provided in terms of what do you think of my workflow and am I doing this in the right way? How do you level out both voices? When does that need to happen? All of that comes down to your workflow, which is this, the practical steps from start to finish. So we're going to take everything we've learned in terms of the technical knowledge and apply it now. Go new session. We're going to call it podcast editing. Remembering that we keep it at 48,000 and 16-bit. Yeah, we're going to override it. Then we're going to import everything we need. We need our 2 tracks. We now need our intro, outro, and our ad. So once they load, this is where we do our background noise first. First and foremost, get rid of your background noise before you do anything.
So fabulous.
There's the background noise. Capture noise print. And then let's take that out. Those settings are still sitting there for me and they worked really well. So I'm going to hit apply. Wonderful, that's taken it out on that track. Second track, same process. Find our noise profile.
Not so, but this one had the skill.
Which is there, and I think it's actually just saved. I've saved over that original track, so we've already taken that out.
His largest independently owned restaurant.
Because you can hear the background noise not there. Great, so once you've done your you've taken out your background noise, the next step is to adjust your audio right here. And the rule is you want to get it as close to the top as you can without hitting the top. It's okay, you can see there's a couple there. We'll deal with that later on, but the majority of the audio has come up really nicely there. And same process here. We get without too many of those audio bits hitting the top. And you want to match it, so you want to be able to flick between the two. I might just boost that a little bit more. You want to get the tracks roughly looking the same, which they do now. Really healthy. Then we're going to move those tracks to our multi-track view. There they are. Let's have a listen.
And they've all got these stories and they've all got these, really great backgrounds.
Suddenly our levels are really good.
Work with other people and lead teams.
And it's really interesting.
That background noise is gone. It's starting to look really healthy, which I'm excited about. From there, we want to apply EQ, compression, and not limiting. So just EQ and compression. So just to recap, we've imported our audio. We've done background noise removal. We've adjusted the audio level and matched levels. We've moved it to multi-track. And now the last step before we mix anything down is applying EQ and compression. Now I want to apply EQ and compression to both of those tracks. But the simplest way to do it, if I want to do it to both tracks and I'm going to have a similar setting on both. So instead of doubling up on each track, I'm going to put it on the master. And you always want to put your EQ first. And when you're EQing, it's really important to be listening to the audio as well. So I'm going to hit play.
Lead teams.
And it's really interesting.
Roll off the bottom.
I started at Coles Supermarkets Glenroy when I was 14 and 9 months.
I know it well.
And it was, back in the day, it was like you went and got a part-time job. And 14 and 9 months.
So you can hear up there, that's a frequency we don't want to increase. And that's the best way when you're EQing. Do the extreme so you can hear what you're adjusting.
watching everyone walk past, getting, having that dressing down and thinking, I am never, ever going to let anyone do this to me again, and I'm going to work my proverbial off.
Yeah.
Perfect. Just a little bit there around that 2, 4K. Remember, let's see what's sitting around there. If we go 2 and 4, there's just, but clarity frequencies is the main one. That's what we want to increase. And then remember, we drop a bit of the mids. I know I'm generalizing it, but this really is the best practice for it. Once we've got an EQ and happy with how that sounds,
and how you respond to that is a really interesting. And realistically,
sounding really crisp and clear, which is the goal. Then we're going to put on our compressor, remember, on the master track. It has to follow what's happening. Your audio is coming in here, it's hitting your EQ first, and then it's going into your compressor, and then it will go into a limiter. But remember, we're just doing the EQ and compression now, but it's important that EQ's first, compression's second. Then those settings are going to stay the same, 40, 100, and all we have to do is find our consistent bit of audio.
it'll just happen. Then that brings an L.
Yeah, that threshold past -6. You don't want to go too far past. You don't want to hit -12.
The systems and the procedures which provide reassurance across the business.
And output gain should be at 2. You don't want too much more than that. So let's play again.
And it's not until someone else gets up and starts to dance with him and
Wonderful. Okay. Suddenly our audio is sounding really good. That background noise is gone. We've EQ'd it so it sounds well, and we've put our compression on. This is where we want to mix down our audio now. I'm going to select all our tracks and go export mix down entire session. Because we want to include that master track as well. And make that an MP3. Actually, we'll keep it in WAV. WAV's going to be your highest quality for the moment. Let's put that on our desktop. Perfect. I'm going to mix that down. Wonderful. This is our mix down here. You can see now those levels are a lot more consistent.
To be the same with your business, is the people.
the advocates within.
You can bump that up again once you bring it back in.
And they were talking about their recruitment process, and
a bit more than that.
And one of the guys there said, everyone is leading.
Starting to sound really good. What I'm happy about is it's not sounding mechanical. We haven't pushed that background noise removal to the absolute extreme. EQ wise, it sounds really good, and consistency, it sounds really great too. In terms of the dynamics, this is where you want to edit from. This is where, now that you've done that process, this is where you want to take out all your ums and ahs. Yeah, definitely. Get to the start.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Aaron Fitch.
That's where you want to go through and cut out all your ums and ahs. Once you've done that and it's ready to go, this is where we're on the home stretch. We're going to bring in our final things. So I'm going to move this to the top. We're going to turn off our EQ and compressor now. We're done with that. We're going to bring in our intro. And again, I'm going to adjust that to a healthy level. I'm going to zoom right in. And we're going to move and line that up. Let's have a listen. There's a bit of space at the very start of that. Great. There's a little bit of space, just going to get rid of that. So it starts right on that beat. Let's have a listen.
Hello everyone and welcome to Frank and Fit.
Okay, we're going to adjust. I'm going to put this up even a bit more. So it's much healthier. Again, don't worry about the peaks. Our limiter will catch them.
Hello everyone and
I'm going to turn this down a little bit. This is too loud.
hello everyone and
That's great. That sounds better. So we move that where we want. And then this is where we can draw in our volume. So we're going to click and then drag that down.
hello everyone and welcome to Frank
Nice.
and Fearless, the podcast for business leaders with a growth mindset. I'm really excited to welcome my inaugural guest to our podcast today, who's Aaron Fitzgerald, who is the Chief Operating Officer.
Good guess, by the way. How wonderful. Now the next step is we're going to add in our ad. The thing with your intro, if it's come from a professional podcast intro and outro place, the music, it's already been EQ'd and compressed. So you don't need to redo that unless it sounds bad. We're going to insert an ad. So the ad is going to be, for this example, halfway through. If it goes for about 26 minutes, let's go about 12 minutes. Let's find a middle point there.
People that are left behind become even more enthused and more empowered because they're like, no, we believe in this, and it's a really powerful cultural attribute that can be built in an organisation.
And I think that's the...
And we want to find a point.
The get-go, but you've got to nurture them.
Yeah.
It's got to be like a clean start where they're really just, one second, like before a new question.
They're advocates within the business
Sort of...
recruitment process, and quite right.
Yeah.
I was in a discussion.
Small business that kind of had and for it doesn't just happen, then that brings in, and again, the lesson there is,
Cash is king.
Yeah.
Checks and balances are there as well. I think that's incredibly, really exhausting as well. So, starting to implement the structures are really valuable.
Ooh.
The thing that I wanted to kind of...
There's an example. Back to multi-track.
are really valuable.
That's where I want to insert my ad, so I'm going to cut that. Move that audio over and drag in our ad now. Now the ad in this example is quite loud, so we're going to bring that down.
Starting to implement the structures are really valuable.
Support for Innovation Bay and Open the Pod Bay door.
Great, so that's a really great example.
The thing that I wanted to kind of, finish up.
Great. So there's our ad, and there's an example. And then the last thing to do, drag this across. I'm going to cut off this dead audio at the end. Here's our intro, our outro rather.
Thank you very much for coming along today.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. See you soon.
Thank you.
Innovation Bay.
Again, it's quite loud in comparison to the audio we're working with, so we're going to bring that down. Make sure we're zooming right in, place an outro.
Absolute pleasure. See you soon.
Thank you.
Innovation Bay is brought to you.
Nice, that sounds really great. Now this is where, so that's how it's going to look. You're going to have your edited audio there and your intro and outro there with our ad in the middle. And then the final step of this is to put it on our limiter. So we're going to go dynamics on everything. This is just going to make sure there's no surprises. Compression, hard limiting. I tend to use -3. From there, we do the exact same. Export this audio, multi-track, entire session. In terms of exporting audio, we're just going to put it in WAV again. We're going to call it Final Mix Desktop. We're almost there, Monica. Hope you're still with me. Again, if there's anything I've missed out or you have any other questions, let me know. But this should give you a really great overview. Final mix, here we go. And here's our audio.
You know, have a level of pace about them that not everyone can cope with.
With founders, providing
Are really valuable.
support for Innovation Bay.
What you want to make sure is that nothing's jumping out. Let's listen to the start.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frank.
Great, I'm really happy with that. Looking back, you can spot that ad straight away. So if we jump back in, I'd probably turn that ad down again now. But that limiting, as you can see, gives you a consistent...
That's the real...
You know, kind of...
It's sounding way cleaner than it was. Let's see the outro too.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. See you soon.
Thank you.
Innovation Bay is brought to you by our friends at Macquarie Group.
Great. I'm really happy with that. You can have a play with levels depending on what you are after. And then from there, you just have to save that audio as MP3 320. Podcasting, especially for voice, 320 is really high just for voice, but a WAV file is really quite large. So MP3 320 when uploading is really the best practice for that. I hope that answers all of your questions. I hope you get the value you're looking for out of this. Thank you for your patience in terms of getting it to you. Like I said, I work on Pro Tools primarily, so I've downloaded Adobe Audition and applied all my knowledge in that way. But if you have any other questions, just let me know.